All right, that was the video for Fortnite featuring Post Malone. I know it's kind of strange getting used to him without the tattoos on his face. And it's the first single from Taylor Swift's new double album. The 31 track double album dropped Friday, and fans have weighed in all weekend long, calling the Tortured Poets Department the beginning of another Taylor era. According to Billboard, the album generated 243.4 million streams on its first day, doubling the number of streams from Taylor's last release, 1989, Taylor's version. I'd like to bring in now cultural commentator and author of the upcoming novel, OK Computer, CJ Farley. We'll have to have you back to talk about that. That's an interesting title. All right, CJ, good to see you.
Good to see you too. So glad to talk about the album.
I know. I wonder, how many times have you been listening to it?
More times than I can count, but when it's a really good album, it's actually a joy to listen to repeatedly because you see new things each time. That's one reason why I think Taylor Swift has so many fans, because she puts secret messages in there. People know that certain songs, like the fifth song on an album, will speak to them in a certain kind of way. And because she has almost novelistic depth in her work, I think that's why people care about her so much and they talk about her so much, and why I'm here talking about her all over again.
Oh, so well said. I mean, I think all weekend long people have been listening to it over and over again. I have been actually listening to her fans as well, the comments and the music on Taylor's Sirius XM channel. And I'm hearing descriptors like it's deeply personal. She allows herself to be more vulnerable than ever before, and that it's sad and empowering. I'm really quoting all the listeners I've been hearing while listening to her music. I mean, you kind of put it very succinctly how she really is a storyteller. I mean, it's like little mini novels all the way through. What is it about her technique in bringing these songs, these stories together and sharing it with the public? Does that kind of, justify why it's been streamed somewhere like 240 million times over and over again in just this weekend alone?
Well, maybe instead of the Tortured Poets Department, they should have called it the Billionaire Poets Department because of how many units she's moved. I mean, this is going to end up being her 14th #1 album. That's a record that no one else has achieved other than Jay-Z when that happens. But, she told me once what her songwriting technique is. And what she does is she doesn't write about the road. She doesn't write about hotels, the things that a lot of other superstar musicians fall into. She writes about her feelings, how people make her feel, and how she wishes people would feel about her. Those kinds of things are timeless. Those are the kinds of things that everyone can identify with. So even though she gets bigger and bigger and even more of a superstar, we can still identify with her very human feelings, the feelings she captures in each song, because we all have emotions. And Taylor Swift has them too, no matter how rich and famous she gets.
Yeah, and you said you've been hearing, as you listen to some of this music over and over again, you hear new things. And I've heard it from her fans who say, they all know about this breakup of a relationship over, a 6-year relationship, and that in so many of the songs on this album, she is talking about that, and she's talking about, other experiences, maybe tit for tats that she's had with other celebrities. I mean, how do you think she approached the writing and the producing process for this album?
Well, here's one thing you have to be careful about with Taylor Swift. As though people think that they know her, but we don't really know her. And the way that artists go about writing these kinds of so-called confessional type albums is they change things. And so the characters they're writing about may reflect certain things of life, but they may not really be real. I mean, Marvin Gaye did the same kind of thing when he wrote the album Here, My Dear, which he wrote to help settle a divorce case against his ex-wife back in 1978. And the songs were maybe about the marriage and the dissolution of the marriage, but they're also about other things that were universal. I mean, you think of Sylvia Plath, the poet who wrote The Bell Jar, and of course that was about her experiences working for Mademoiselle, but they weren't really, because she made up a lot of the characters and changed a lot of the facts, and so it was a universal story, and maybe it was about her, maybe it's about something more. The same thing is true of Taylor Swift's songs. I mean, a song like The Alchemy, with all the references to winning and things that seem to be about football, Maybe it's about Travis Kelce, but maybe it's about something larger and more universal. So people shouldn't fall into the trap of thinking that each song is about some specific person. They should realize that Taylor Swift has larger issues on her mind. She's changed things. And this is really about everything that we as people go through and not just about specific things about Taylor Swift you may have seen like on Twitter or X or someplace else.
Do you think, I mean, this album kind of exhibits a type of maturity in her as a woman, not just as a, songstress, a writer, a producer, but kind of overall the tapestry of who she's become?
I think you're exactly right. What's interesting is for years, for decades, male rockers have been writing about women and they don't understand women. I mean, they talk about the way women look, but they don't really understand what's going on in their heads. I mean, I'm sure you know that when you listen to a lot of rock songs, you're like, that person doesn't really get me. They only sort of seeing the outside. Taylor Swift gets guys. And I think that's what's so terrifying for some men who listen to her, because not only does she have the talent to write about the human experience, she has specificity in terms of the men she's talked to and knows and writes about them in unflagging, unmerciful detail. I think that's what's so scary and interesting and fascinating about what she does. And also her vocabulary keeps expanding. And you look on this album, she's used words like saboteurs and aesthetic and dopamine and cinephile and impressionist and empath, words you don't necessarily hear on top 40 songs. Taylor Swift's vocabulary is broad and deep, and it all gets into her music.
I concur on that. There were words I was like, you don't usually hear some of this word choice in other songs, but yeah, it's pretty amazing to hear. And I'll keep listening because I haven't heard it all. CJ Farley, good to see you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.